good afternoon, good night, good evening, wherever you're watching, even if you're watching the replay, good morning. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us another episode of the Vote 2020. It is Tuesday. It is 8 p.m. and this is our second installment of the Vote 2020 right here on Black News Undisputed. Leave a comment and let us know that you are watching. All right, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to start coming in here. All right, we are broadcasting on facebook.com/Black News Undisputed, and we are also broadcasting on my personal Facebook account at facebook.com/Andre Jaho, and also youtube.com/Black News Undisputed. All right. So share this video with your family and friends. Let them know that we are on the air. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, let me get the link to this live stream just to let everyone know that we are on the air. All right. Let's see here. Getting the link right now. And I'm going to send the link to who I need to send it to. The air. All right, guys. Let your family and friends know that we are on the air, guys. And you can share that link, my guest. I'm going to send you both the link. You can put that on your timeline. I just inboxed you the link, so you can check your inbox. I will. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Leave a message, leave us a comment, and let us know that you are watching. And we are about to get started. We have two guests with us today. Well, one friend to the show, and we have a first timer to Black News Undisputed. All right, I'm going to bring them on right now. All right, guys. All right, let's see here. And then make sure you are my guests. Make sure you have headphones on. Headphones, or just mute your other device. All right, and I'm going to bring you guys in right now. All right, so I have Stacy, and friend to the show, co-host of the Morning Coffee podcast, right here on Black News Undisputed, Stacy and JD. Bringing them on right now. Bam, here we go.
Hello.
What's
up, everybody?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
Fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Yes. So I sent you.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, man. Of course, man. You're a regular, man. You're part of this. Yeah, so we're glad to have Stacy on. First timer to Black News Undisputed. So thank you so much, Stacy, for being a part of this broadcast.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes. So we are going to get into some voting, because we are in we're in the voting season. All right, so we have to we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything that's been happening. A lot of news has been happening. We're going to track the polls. I have some graphics that we're going to show. I'm just going to give people about 60 more seconds to come on in here. All right. Give people about 60 more seconds to come in here, and then we will get started with today's broadcast. All right. All right, guys. So thank you so much again for joining us for the Vote 2020. All right, guys. Today is November 20th. We're about 2 weeks away from Election Day, 2 weeks to be exact. November 3rd is election day. Early voting has started in certain places. So I know early voting in Long Island, where I live, it starts this Saturday. So I do plan on hitting the polls on Saturday.
Okay.
Have you guys checked out your early voting to see if there's early voting, or what are you guys doing? Mail-in ballots or what?
Stacey.
Early voting has definitely started here in Michigan. I haven't gone yet, but it's definitely started. A lot of people on my timeline are posting that they voted already.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm in New York, and I had some information about early voting, but I guess I'm old school in that regard, so I haven't really checked out the early voting thing myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that have, but yeah, I haven't. I know we're gonna get into the show, so I haven't.
No, go ahead.
No, I haven't because I'm still to be honest, I'm still undecided with what I'm gonna do. I'm kind of on the fence about the whole voting thing. I'm very interested in hearing some new information on the show because I'm a little undecided as far as the vote goes, and I don't mean undecided in which candidate to vote for. I mean undecided in whether or not I am going to vote. Period. This time around.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I feel about it.
Okay. Well, we definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah, maybe something will change my mind. I mean, I'm still, like I said, I'm on the fence. I've voted every election that since I've been able to vote. I voted in every presidential election since, but new information, new revelations for myself kind of changed that for me. It almost changed it the last time around, but it really is on my mind this time around. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. Well, I mean, and this is the thing too. I'm not here. I didn't create this platform to change nobody's mind. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I know how I feel about it, and whoever else comes on this platform, whether I know I had someone that was supposed to come on next week, but she said she declined to come on. Well, she said yes, and then she backed out. She's a conservative. She's a conservative. She is a Trump supporter. And she decided not to come on because she just felt like there would be too much backlash from maybe the viewers, so I respect her. I had to respect her wishes and everything, or how she felt,
That's a shame. I would have loved to have that conversation with someone.
Yeah, to hear other people's perspectives. So.
Yeah, I would love to have heard her reasoning behind voting for wanting to vote for Trump and what I don't think that we would have bashed her or anything. Well, you said the viewers, so I don't know. The viewers are a little bit different. So.
Yeah, because I told her, I said, hey, I'm not gonna bash you. It's not gonna be an argument. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. It's just, however you feel, this is an opportunity for you to speak your mind and let your voice be heard. That's all this is really about. Let your voice be heard, because I'm a normal guy. We're basically we're not famous and rich here. We're just normal people trying to, we all have opinions, and MSNBC, CNN, all these places, they're not going to bring on people like us, the normal average Joe or the average I don't know,
a real citizen.
A real citizen.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna put on people that they've either coerced into saying what they want to say, or yes men, like what's her name? What's that girl name that everybody can't stand?
Don't say Candace Owens.
Oh, Candace Owens? Yeah.
Candace Owens.
Yeah.
People like that, or people like Tommy Lauren, that they're so opinionated, but they're gonna just say whatever they think, Trump or the Republicans want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Or like Stacey Dash.
She's not. She shouldn't even be considered in the conversation.
She's not my name, okay?
Yeah, she didn't even bring her up. That's unfortunate too. I used to like Stacey Dash, but anyway, I think Dre, that I know that's, but let me show my ring in this thing. But anyway, I think that a lot of these people, they, like you said, they have agendas.
Mhm.
And what's funny is when I first heard about Candace Owens, when she first got on my radar, there are some things that I do agree with her on. I just think that her approach is a little bit immature. I don't think that she's fully aware of everything she's saying. I mean, but there were some things that she did say that I agree with, which I'm sure will come out tonight. But I just
Right.
wanted to state that since you brought a name up, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, everybody has the right to their opinion, but it's like a lot of times I see these black preachers, basically preachers too. You got black preachers that are supporting Trump and everything, and I feel like he's really just using them. This is just how I feel. I feel like he's just using them, you know what I'm saying, to get, you know, to get the black vote, you know what I'm saying? Because they're still black. You know what I'm saying? They're still African American. That's why when I see, you know, African Americans that are Trump supporters, I kind of look at it like he's not really done anything for us, and he could say he did stuff for us, but you know, I haven't reaped any benefits. And just because we got a stimulus check that had Trump's name on it, that doesn't mean that he actually did it.
Right.
You know?
So deep about that stimulus check.
He signed his name on it just to say, I did that for you guys.
Listen, all the Bumpy Johnson and everybody used to give out turkeys. I don't mean that they were saints. You know what I'm saying? So they gave away, big drug dealers was giving away stuff too to the people. Like all those things are, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. And then another thing I notice about, you know, people that come off to be nice, you know what I'm saying? You have cops, like either dirty cops or cops that are killing our black people. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that same officer that probably hates black people probably loves his mama. He probably loves his wife, loves his kids. He's a family man, and probably his neighbors would say, "Oh, Joe is the nicest guy in the world, or Bob is the nicest person in the world. He's always playing with his kids, but once he goes to the hood to work, you know, saying he has no connection with the African American or Hispanic or even Chinese, whoever. He has no connection with them, and it's like he's like abusing them, cursing them out, sticking his nose up, you know what I'm saying, doing that dirty stuff. So yeah, just because you're nice in one world or in one neighborhood doesn't mean that you really care about everybody.
Yeah, and also he's a part of a culture that, you know, a lot of the practices that they're doing is actually abuse, and they're kind of like, oh, okay, this is our job, we have to do it this way, and they're being taught to do things certain ways, like, you know, the chokehold, and you know, I've heard recently that that's something that they've been taught. So, you know, who knew? That's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's messed up because it's like you said, Stacey, it's a culture. It's a cultural thing that they are taught, and you know, they're trained to do, and they're trained to look at black people a certain way. You know, even black officers are trained to look at black people in a certain area a certain way, and it's, you know, and it's unfortunate. And then they all stick together because, you know, it's like a gang culture. They stick together even when one of them is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem, is that there are more. I feel like in ratio, there are probably more good cops than bad cops at the core. You know what I mean? But because they have this like stick together thing, it allows the bad ones to operate, you know, within the system and without consequence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a black officer that was in the news. I forgot his name, but the black officer, and he had, like, in the past 5 years killed like 3 different people in the past 5 years. And now the Black Lives Matter movement is people were yelling Black Lives Matter, you know, at his house and threatening him and throwing toilet paper, trying to vandalize his house. They were trying to actually like kill this guy, you know, and he has a family still, though, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that they're yelling Black Lives Matter and they're trying to kill a black person, it's almost like them almost gonna burn his house down or something, not realizing that even though he may have done wrong, he has a family inside his house that's African American. So it's like, sometimes I said this before, I feel like some people say Black Lives Matter like it's just a fad or something, like it's just a cool thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like those kind of people, I don't want yelling Black Lives Matter when they just want to vandalize. And it's like, what's your plan though? After you vandalize, then what? Is that going to change anything?
A lot of times people just feel like if justice hasn't been served yet, I'm still going to, express how I feel about the situation. Like in that situation, did the person, the people that he killed, did they ever receive justice? Because those wounds are still going to be there. You can't just brush it over. And it don't even matter, how much time has went by sometimes, that community is still hurting from what happened. So has it been addressed?
Yeah, I mean, but I have a question, like, what's really justice? If you kill my sister or my brother or my mother or father or whoever, like, really, what is justice? I mean, a bunch of people a lot of times I have a problem with protests only because the protest really is emotional. There's no real structure behind it. There's nothing that you're asking for. What is the actual justice that people are asking for by throwing toilet paper at this man's house? To be honest, that's the fastest way to get shot. Because if I'm a cop and I have guns in my house and it's a mob outside and my kids are in here, somebody's getting shot. And it's not on the inside of my house. It's going to be on the outside of my house. Whether right or wrong. And you know what I'm saying? It's just the truth. And this guy, he could have been straight wrong with what he did with killing those people. But I don't think that's going to bring justice. All that's going to do is, and most of the time, it's somebody talking loud, putting a battery in a bunch of people's backs to run off and do something and get themselves hurt. When there's no real structure, you're not asking this guy for anything. You're not really demanding anything. I mean, what does the mob want him to do? Come outside so they could beat him up? I mean, what are they really asking for? So you're sending a bunch of people into the situation, which I get, but you're sending them in the situation, and then if another kid gets killed, because obviously these guys didn't have a problem pulling the trigger. So if you send these young guys out there or these young ladies out there to mob and get killed, then what? Now you're going to be looking for justice for them too. And I just think there's like a better way to do it sometimes.
Yeah, but there's always a good way and a bad way to do everything. So
True.
There are people who are doing protests the right way, like Until Freedom, and a lot of people are organizing correctly and protesting the right way. I feel like what they did, the protest that they did in front of what's his name, Daryl from
which one?
Cameron.
Where was he from?
You talking about Daniel Cameron?
Daniel Cameron.
Yeah.
I feel like the protest that they did was very effective to get the attention and get their voices heard, even though the situation for Breonna Taylor did not turn out the way that we wanted it to.
Right.
I feel like they did the protest the right way.
Okay. I mean, and so if you don't mind me asking, what would have been because me and Drake kind of discussed this before, but I'm curious, Stacey, what do you feel like would have been what would have been justice for Breonna Taylor? Like, what does that look like for Breonna Taylor? What does justice look like for
her? Police reform, first of all.
Okay.
And because it's not just the individuals that killed her. We know that it's a whole systematic issue. The whole system of the police has been corrupt from the beginning.
Right.
From the beginning, it's been corrupt. So, we need like a complete, reform of the system. But of course, those officers needed to be put in jail, for allowing their bullets to come out of their gun and just go wherever and kill her. And then, they have to be punished for that. You can't be irresponsible with your weapon.
Now, exactly. I think that somebody should have went to jail. And I feel like those officers, again, I know this is not the popular opinion, but I don't think that, the officer that was shooting in a neighbor's house, Lord forgive me, that idiot should have went to jail. He should not have a badge anymore. He should have went to jail for reckless, endangerment. But the other officers, all they were doing was following the orders they were given. I think the people who should be charged were the ones who gave them those orders. Whoever gave them that bad intel to go into that wrong apartment, because if you think about it, right? Let's just say do you have any siblings?
Yeah.
Stacey, do you have? Go ahead.
I have 3 brothers and a sister.
All right. So let's say one of your brothers, right, was that officer. He's doing his job. He gets sent to this house. He's told that it's a hostile situation. Like I said, the culture in the police force, they hype them up. They hype everybody up. They make them feel a certain way. Then they send them out. So if they would have sent your brother on that call with the rest of those officers, and then they got there, and then shots were fired at them, right, from opening the door, who they got the intel that they were supposed to be able to go through that door. So they went through that door, and then shots were fired. They think they're shooting back at, a drug dealer or whatever, whoever the perp is, and they wind up killing her in the process, which is definitely unfortunate. But is it really your brother's fault for being a part of that? He was only going for his, you know what I'm saying? He was only doing his job. Aside from, like I said, aside from the guy who was just shooting blind outside, that was recklessness. But everyone else who went in there, they went in there on bad intel. So I don't think that they should be going to jail or being charged. I think whoever sent them that intel should be held accountable for the intel that they should get. And I feel like the police, that precinct as a whole, should have some sort of repercussion for what, as a whole. You know what I mean? But those individuals who sent that bad intel, they definitely should be the ones that are charged and going to jail. I don't necessarily feel like those officers should have. You know what I mean? That's in my opinion.
That intel or not, and I agree with you. Mm-hmm. You need to actually lay your eyes on, where these bullets are going. It could have been kids.
There were kids in that apartment.
Like it.
Wait, you mean a reckless cop or the ones who went into her apartment?
Randomly, and you don't have a pass to shoot anywhere just because you believe it's a criminal in the house.
No, but the shots were fired at them first, though. When they bust in the door, I don't know if he must have thought it was a home invasion or something. I'm assuming. So
yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, so he started firing at the police, but he didn't realize that it was the police that came in his door. He just heard someone come in the door. So in all fairness, he's fair. He's right to have protected himself and Brianna, who was in the house with him, but he didn't realize that they were police officers. So when those officers started returning fire, it's not like the officers shot first. They were just returning fire. So if you're returning fire, I mean, if bullets are flying at you, you know what I'm saying, and you've already had all this stuff put in your mind that there's someone armed and dangerous in the house, and if shots are being fired at you, as an officer, you want to make it home to your family too. You know what I'm saying? Your brother's going to want to make it to the next reunion and see you. So he's going to protect himself at that point. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's kind of unfair to say that police should have like some sort of matrix ability to like slow everything down in the moment, you know what I mean? And be like superhuman and know how to react, perfectly. So I feel like, again, it was unfortunate that situation happened, but I feel like everybody rallied and marched against the wrong thing. Everybody was trying to get at those officers, but who sent those officers over there? Who are the ones training these officers to do chokeholds?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Some laws have gone into effect since then to what I think is the no knock law. I'm not 100% sure.
Really?
But whatever the law is that allowed them to do what they did and forcing their way into her house, that law has changed. So I know that
Is that across the board or just in that state?
It was in that state.
Okay. That's definitely progress. I think that's some form of progress. I know it's not justice for a family, it's not justice, but that was an unfortunate situation. You know what I mean? I feel like people who tried to make it out to be like another George Floyd situation, like I feel like that was kind of unfair because it wasn't really, that was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Not a little bit, it was a lot different from a George Floyd situation.
Well, this was a lot more obvious that the police knew that they made a mistake because they told so many lies to cover up the mistake, at the crime scene.
Right, and that's the problem too.
Right,
exactly. Now, and then
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me just say this one thing. Another thing that they did, which they've done that with George Floyd, they did it with Jacob Blake. You know, Jacob Blake, the gentleman that got shot 7 times in the back.
Mm-hmm.
If the person has a record or any kind of criminal past, they have to bring that up as a justification in their mind that that person was a bad person anyway. You know what I'm saying? I heard some people even saying that, hey, Breonna Taylor actually knew what she was doing. She knew that her boyfriend, even the boyfriend now, is a drug dealer, and she knew that packages were coming to the house. So it was kind of like she had it coming. Even though she was sleeping and completely innocent, you know what I'm saying? They tried to make it seem like she had it coming. So that's what really gets me upset. That regardless,
you don't have the right to kill nobody.
Right.
Exactly. That's messed up.
You give them the right to go and execute somebody for a crime. No, that's not their job.
Right.
Their job is to arrest. That's their job.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
and
true.
like you said,
and like I said,
no, go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead, JD. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. And I was gonna say, like Stacey said earlier, it's one of those things where, like, if they love a up situation is why a lot of people should be getting charged. But the cover up normally doesn't come from those officers on the scene. Those officers on the scene find out that they made a mistake. They get scared, call their superiors, and their superiors say, "Okay, wait right there." Then they contrive whatever story they're gonna do to cover everything up, and then tell those officers what to say. So you know what? I'm going to change my position on that. I feel like they should be charged. Not with murder, but they should be charged with perjury or whatever you want to call it, with them lying on the scene, the cover-up part of it, the conspiracy part of it. You know, they should be charged for that. If they lie, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not cool.
Exactly.
Covering up their lies. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's absolutely unacceptable, and that's part of the culture. That's part of their culture. Is, you know, you do something wrong, don't worry about it. We got you. We'll cover for you. We got you. And that's why those guys didn't get charged, because their superiors knew they really didn't do anything wrong, and they did not deserve the jail time. The fault wasn't theirs. It was the bad intel of their superiors. And their superiors are not going to say, well, these guys didn't do anything. We're the ones responsible here. Cuff us. They're not going to do that. They're just going to say, all right, well, then sorry, nobody goes to jail. And then you have no justice. And that's the repetitive story every time.
Yeah. And then another thing that I think about when you ask the question of what is justice? That's why I put that on the screen. What is proper justice for Breonna Taylor? You know, even me thinking about, okay, if that was my kids, what would be proper justice? I truly do believe that police reform, like retraining these officers, you know what I'm saying? Like me going to the officer and killing him myself, okay, am I going to feel better after? I don't think so. You understand? Like, this is not the same thing as if you have a roach in your house, or let's say a fly. You know those annoying flies, they come in, or even mosquito. A mosquito stings you and puts a mark on you, and it itches, and it's annoying. And when you can kill them, you kill them, and you're like, fine. But killing a mosquito is not going to make the bite go away.
Right.
It's not going to make the itching go away. It'll stop them from, you know, but then they're just going to keep multiplying and multiplying. It's still other mosquitoes. So how can we change the mosquito problem? You know, how can we get the mosquitoes to stop biting us? That's how we got to do with the police, because, or even these so-called Karens, you know, these white folk that are coming around talking to us like they are parents or something. Try, you know, regular people trying to perform a citizen's arrest on us for whatever reason. So many times you see stories of a delivery driver that's black going into a gated community that's full of white folk, and they want to question, why are you in here? Well, duh, you don't see the big behind truck? You don't see the big truck here?
Right.
That's why I'm here.
I wear all brown for fun and drive a big brown truck because That's just, it's the style. Like,
yeah, the truck says FedEx or UPS on it, and you're asking me, and even if it's not FedEx or UPS, it might say delivery, whatever the company is on it. So obviously, why would I be in here? But they're gonna think, oh, the black man has a truck in here. Maybe they're trying to case the place so they can rob, or they just think the worst of us.
Right. I don't know, man. How do we change it? I mean, I know, we said police reform, but how? How do we reform the police across?
One of the things is to keep track of the bad cops.
Okay.
So I know that currently they have a system, whatever system they have hasn't been working. So, keeping track of them, making sure that they're fined, making sure that the community knows, who these bad cops are. That's one thing. I know that that's been in discussions already, and hopefully it'll be put into effect soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I would love to see it. I really would. I would love to see it.
So would I. And that's why I believe we got to vote. I think it's important that we vote. It's important that we know about the different branches of government. So I want to kind of get into how the U.S. government is organized. Okay, so and this is just a lesson for those at home that might not know. We need to know how the U.S. government is organized. Okay, so I'm going to be reading from USA.gov. Okay, how the U.S. government is organized. The Constitution of the United States divides the federal government into the branches to make sure no individual or group will have too much power. So you have the legislative, which makes laws, which is Congress, comprised of the House of Representatives and Senate. Then you have the executive, which carries out laws for the president, vice president, cabinet, and most federal agencies. Then you have the judicial, which evaluates laws, the Supreme Court, and other courts. So this is just the basics of the government: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. You understand what I'm saying? So when we say that we don't want to vote, when we say I'm not going to vote, or I'm not voting for Trump or Biden or whoever, it's not just voting for the president, but you see how President Trump is, trying to get Amy Coney Barrett in there right now as fast as he can, because he wants her in that seat. So by the time election time comes, he can start fighting to say, if he loses, he'll be able to use her as a pawn to fight for him, to keep those laws.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have certain, judicial, when you have certain judges in certain seats. I was watching Steve Harvey show today, and there was a guy, it was like an old show, but a guy was arrested and charged for a crime that he didn't commit. He went into jail when he was 22. And when he got out of jail and they finally found out that he was innocent, he was 55.
Mm.
So when you have these judges in there, we have to vote the right vote to make sure that those certain judges are not in those seats. Amy Coney Barrett is like 50 something. So as long as she's healthy, she's going to be in there for at least 30 years, at least. And if she's not for us, then we're screwed.
Right.
That's my opinion.
I mean, how many of them are for us?
Right. I was thinking that's what I was thinking too.
Okay, so what's different?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you have Clarence Thomas, that's the black guy that's in that seat. But I'm not really educated on Clarence Thomas too much, but I will educate myself this week, and next week I will make sure I talk about him and just let the people know, as a black judge, what he's done. Now we know that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that just passed away, we know that she fought for women's equality, women's rights and everything. Okay, we know that. So basically, based on what she did for women, you know what I'm saying? She's white, she's not black, but she fought for to let the women have the right to do a lot of things that they can do now. And I also hear Amy Coney Barrett is like she's gonna overturn Roe versus Wade, where women don't have the right to choose whether they want to get an abortion or not. Which I agree that if a woman is raped by a stranger, or let's say a guy is stalking her, he rapes her, beats her bad, and she gets pregnant. If she decides she don't want that baby, I feel it's okay for her to get rid of that baby. Of course, yes, every life is precious, but she'll have to live with that for the rest of her life. And it's not fair. It's not right, you know? That's just how I feel.
I'm wise enough not to even I don't even have but I can't say I don't have an opinion. I kind of feel like you do, but I don't feel that I can really make that choice. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I can even vote on something like that because I'm not a woman. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what it feels like to have an abortion. I've witnessed, you know what I mean? Like I've known people who've had them and everything like that, and I see maybe the aftermath and the emotions they go through, but I don't know what that feels like. You know what I mean? And I know that men sometimes we can be a little disconnected when it comes to that type of thing. You know, a lot of us, it's easier for us to be disconnected when it comes to that. So I don't feel like I can rightly say, you know, I honestly, if someone got an abortion in that situation, I wouldn't judge them for that. I would be like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly. Because you have to look at it like this. You know, as I said, if a person was abused by a strange person that they know nothing about, or even whoever it is, it could be even their father. You know, it happens. Young girls are sexually abused by their father, and they've gotten pregnant by their father. So if they decide, or whoever it is, that if they go through with this pregnancy, every time they look at that child, it's going to remind them of what happened to them, because you cannot forget. And that could scar them for the rest of their life. And it all stems back to mental health. You know what I'm saying? We've been dealing with mental health in the African American community ever since slavery. You know what I'm saying? Where the white slave master would rape and molest the black slaves, do it in front of their husband, beat them, you know, make the husband watch, whatever. It's a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just feel like if the woman is like, hey, I cannot keep this baby, I don't judge them either. I'm like, hey, you got to do what you got to do. If you decide to keep that baby and you have a feeling like if God allowed that to happen, then maybe it was the will for that baby to be alive. Maybe there's a purpose for that child's life. Then if you're strong enough to do that and go through with that, then so be it. But if you just feel like you're not mentally there, if you feel like seeing that baby's gonna make you want to kill yourself or even kill the baby, because if you kill the baby when it's alive, you're gonna be in way more trouble. So I feel like it's better if you feel like you can't handle it, you might as well go with the abortion. What's your thoughts, Stacey?
Well, I feel like I was just about to say, I feel like we two men talking about this.
Yeah, it's a very sensitive topic, you know. But as a woman, I understand why it's so sensitive. Number one, I'm definitely pro-life, which means that I would, you know, prefer for a child to be born into this world and then, you know, make a decision on, you know, whether you can parent that child. Abortion, you know, is something that is an option in the event that you don't want to have that child. I believe the law is the law is trying to intervene, because the question is, at what point does that life inside of you, you know, become a life to where if you kill that baby inside of you, at what point is it murder? At what point is it, okay, you know, this is a whole nother, you know, being. This is not just you anymore, you know? So the laws regarding it, I'm not 100% up to date with it, I'll be honest. But do I believe that the government should be involved in that choice? I don't believe the government should be involved in it. But I know that they do have to put a law in place because of the healthcare workers need to be told, whether it's okay for them to proceed with a abortion if a mother is 8 months pregnant.
Right.
That's
Wow.
I'm pro-life, but
Yeah.
I do know that the laws are put there for a reason. I know that it's different at different stages, but that's all I can say about it. I mean, it's a heavy one right there.
Yeah, because and I need to clarify something for the audience, and I'm glad you said what you said, because also adoption is a big option. You know what I'm saying? You could still have the baby and decide that I cannot look at this baby for the rest of my life because I'm gonna still remember what happened. So at least I will let the baby live, and then I'll give the baby to someone, because there's so many people that cannot have children because of different circumstances. Like, I was adopted, and I don't know my birth family, so I don't know why my mother gave me up for adoption, but I'm glad that she did. You know what I'm saying? So, and then there was a reason why, she decided not to have an abortion with me. So yes, but as I say, it's kind of to each his own.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right.
Yeah.
So then the question is, at what level does the government need to be involved? That's the question.
Well, another thing with the government, I feel like the government has too much. I feel like the government has too much say in what we do. They already control our taxes. They control the price of gas. They control the price of this, the price of that. They control this. They control that. So it's like, yeah, if a woman decides that whatever they want to
I lost you, Dre. Is it me? Stacey, you there?
I can hear you. He's frozen.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was me. I think until he comes back, I just wanted to say that honestly, I agree. I think the government has a lot more control than they should over people's personal issue. But and as far as abortion goes, I think that is between that person, that woman, and God. You know what I mean? And that's just my personal belief, because like you, I would rather see a child born into this world. I would rather see, I don't want any life to be lost. And I can have my opinion, but I can't say, oh, well, she's wrong for doing this, or, she's right for doing this. That's between them and God. I don't know that, he's the judge on that one.
And that is the problem when a lot of people are trying to play God, and it's like, you're not God.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, exactly.
God do him. You have a seat. It's like, no.
Yeah. Right. Even in judgment, because people sit back and they say, oh, I see these people outside of abortion clinics with signs and everything. And I'm like, look, everybody has their cause, and I get it. Maybe it keeps balance. I don't know. Maybe God sent them there. Who knows? But I know when some people who call themselves Christians, right? I'm a Christian, for anybody who's listening. People who call themselves Christians and then they attack these women as they're going into the abortion clinic, I'm like, that's not Christ-like. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's not, and it gives Christianity a bad name to me, because they're doing these things in the name of Christianity, but that's not. And then other people who are not Christians, if anybody's listening who's not a Christian, that is not the Christian way. So don't let that fool you, because that's just not it. You know what I mean? It's not about that.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Can you guys hear me? Can y'all see me again?
Yeah, we can see you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know what happened. Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying was, I don't remember what I was saying, but basically what I was saying is that about being adopted. Yeah, I feel like adoption is a good thing.
Yeah.
I was adopted, so
Mm.
what I'm saying, it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, it's the woman's choice. The government has so much say with what we do with, they control the price of this, the price of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like if the government one day wanted to say, all men, you cannot shave your head bald anymore
That's
for
a problem.
whatever reason,
That's an
you
absolute
know,
problem.
you know what I'm saying? Or they say we don't want any men to wear a beard or whatever. They could make up anything that
Right.
they want. And this is something that I thought about. If you've watched the movie The Purge, you know what I'm saying? And there's another movie too that's about purging, but I forgot what it's called. But it's a movie where, you know what I'm saying, it's like they do an annual. Well, they have the annual purging movies, and then there's another movie that's kind of like where they kind of like do a purging, but it's not called a purge. But anyway, I feel like we may get to that because they make these movies, out of things that really happen or things that they might want to happen. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be around for that where they say, all right, we gotta get rid of, because I just feel like maybe that's why they're trying to kill us at such a rate, because they've been talking about how, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because they've been talking about how they don't want the African American and the brown people in the world to overtake the white people, because African American people of color are almost dominating the world right now. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Chinese or Arab, whatever, Indian, whatever. So it's like they're trying to kill us off or suppress us so they can be more dominant, because they feel like one day it's just that we're just gonna take over and they're gonna be at the lower totem pole.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's part of the reason why there's so many Planned Parenthoods in our community.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's Planned Parenthood's placed strategically in
Yeah.
our community for a reason.
So they want us to have an abortion, but then
Yes.
again, then they don't. So it's like
They created it. They created Planned Parenthood for that.
People to have an abortion. They want us
Right.
black people to have an abortion.
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
They putting the bulletins up. They got pamphlets. They got mailings. They got it on our radio station. I mean, it's a whole, movement out there promoting abortion to the black community.
Yeah, that's what it was for. That's what it was made for. And the funny thing is, I was watching Nick Cannon's podcast, Cannon Class, and he was talking about. No, I'm sorry. I was watching. He had a thing with Kanye, an interview with Kanye, and he was talking about. He had the numbers on the fact that abortion kills more black people annually than any other thing. Like more black people are killed by abortion than anything else, and the numbers were like out of this world. Like it was like crazy. Like when you compared any other type of murder, accidents, anything else, and combine all of those, it still didn't add up to abortions, which is crazy. But again, that's a mentality, as you said, they are feeding us through bulletins and pamphlets and flyers and commercials and all these things. They put it in movies. They make it seem like getting an abortion is like going and getting your nails done.
Right. Exactly.
Or getting a haircut, like what you just said. I'm like,
right.
Oh, how you gonna go to the hair?
Right. Exactly. Like, yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll let you redeem yourself.
Huh? What'd you say?
I was talking about what he just was like, what if the government start trying to control when you get a haircut? I'm like,
yeah.
What if?
Not the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they have another movie that I watched. I think Keanu Reeves is in it. Not Keanu Reeves. I forgot his name, but there's a movie where in the future you're not allowed to read. You ever saw that movie? Like books are not allowed. I think Idris Elba was in it too.
No, I didn't see that.
But yeah, I forgot the name of the book. But anyway, there's no books allowed. You're not allowed to read because they feel like whatever was in the past, they don't want people to have knowledge of the past because they're trying to control what everybody thinks in that world. So it's like maybe 20, 25 or some crap. It's some higher number. But anyway, that's what the movie is about. And then eventually people actually, they find books, or if they find books, they have to burn the books. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a way of control. So I just feel like, you know, when they make these movies, or even when you watch shows like Scandal, or like Tyler Perry has a show now called The Oval, when you watch these type of shows and they show how the government is being controlled by, you know, the president is controlled by higher powers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're getting it for these shows from somewhere. This is not stuff they actually just made up in their head.
No, it's not. And if you notice, there's no more language arts in school. They don't teach kids how to write anymore. They just have them type. You know, they are training these kids to learn how to type, which is cool. But then when a lot of times, like we, even as adults, if you're out of practice, sometimes I have to sit and, maybe it's me, but sometimes I have to sit and question myself about simple words. Sometimes like I'll forget, I'm like, is this right? And it'll be right, but I'll be like, you know, I'll second guess myself for 2 seconds. If you're out of practice or you're not used to doing something, then yeah, you can lose it. You know what I mean? You can lose it. But they're not even allowing these kids to learn how to communicate through written word. They don't learn. A lot of these kids in schools don't learn how to write in cursive anymore. You know, so if you're not used to that, and then you actually see something that's written, you know, and you're not able to read it, it's dangerous. And when these kids are learning this young, because they think they're going to have all this stuff at their, whenever they want to use it or whatever, then it gets taken away. They're not going to know how to communicate. They barely know how to communicate now, socially. You know what I mean? Person to person.
Yep, it's all about this tablet.
Yeah.
Or the cell phone. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's dangerous. But so can I ask you this then, you guys? Because the way I feel about the whole voting thing, I just trying to understand. Yeah, you guys had touched on something earlier about the local votes, you know, and voting in local elections and everything. And I totally agree with that, because I feel like those things make a change. But how does voting for the president, how does this particular election directly affect the things that we're talking about? Because to me, it feels like, and I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I already feel like they know who the next president is going to be. So how does this directly affect the things that we're talking about as far as making change?
Ladies first, if you'd like.
I'm just curious.
I mean, I'll tell you this. For the first time in my life, and I've always been a voter. Ever since I was able to vote, I've always voted. I believe in voting. I believe everyone should definitely, do their research, study, and make sure you understand the candidates and what they stand for. Read their websites, and really know for yourself. I don't believe anybody should be pressured to vote and they don't know what's going on. Like, it's like you really need to know what's going on for yourself.
Right.
If we learn anything in 2020, we should have learned that you need to know stuff for yourself. So much has been going on with the coronavirus and all, a lot of stuff going on, and
Exactly.
people are relying on the news and CNN and even social media. There's so much information that's been like just jammed at us, and it's kind of like, like, who do I believe? And you really need to do your own research. You really need to study. You really need to not allow yourself to be pressured to go one way or the other, because you have to be okay with this decision for yourself. And I believe that right now a lot of people are torn about who to vote for president. I've never seen us this torn. A lot of my friends are torn. People that I know that usually are on the same page are different. For the majority, they're like, okay, let's get Trump out of office. That's the goal, is to get Trump out of office. And I totally understand why. I totally understand.
Right.
But the alternative being Biden, there's a lot that's not, lining up for me. So, but it's like Trump and his, the fact that he is racist and he's said so many things, he's done so many things that is not right. It's kind of like, okay, we have to go with Biden, but now Biden needs to show that, he's worthy to be president. That, but I don't know, I really don't know right now. Like it's looking like Biden should be choice. But a lot of things that are going on right now, that's why I was just telling Andre, like, who knows what's gonna come up in the news next week. And people are already voting.
Right.
And they want us. And notice that Biden's campaign wants everybody to vote early. And they want us to vote. Trump's campaign is like, forget all of that. Let's keep the rules the same. Let's do it the way we've been doing it. And I kind of wonder why too. So I'm like, I don't want to vote early. I want to just, vote the same way that I've been voting. I'm not scared to go into the polls with a mask on.
Right.
Like I'm not worried about that part. But I really am being very careful. I'm looking at what's going on. I'm paying more attention than what I paid before because things are really iffy right now.
Yeah, they are. Trey, what do you think, man?
Well, I just put this on the screen. Ice Cube, Ice Cube has a certain plan for Black America that they've been talking about that. I don't know if you've heard the stories about, Ice Cube. People are upset with him because he's talking to Trump and he's talking to Biden. You know what I'm saying? As you said, JD, I feel like also they know who they're gonna vote for, or they not vote for. They know who is gonna win this election regardless. You know what I'm saying? They knew last time when it was Hillary, and they know it, and they know again. And Trump is saying some little stuff that's kind of getting me wondering. He said the other day, he said, if I lose this election, you may never see me again. Wow. What's that mean? It's like he's putting hints that if he loses, he's gonna leave the United States to never be seen again. Where's he gonna go? Russia?
Right.
And then I was watching the newscast the other day, and a young woman was on Roland Martin Unfiltered, and she said something that it was someone that singer. I'm not sure. I think it might have been Sheila. It wasn't Sheila E., but it was a musician that's involved with a program with Sheila E. right now. I forgot her name, but she said that she'd been to Russia at a concert with Putin, and she knows Putin. She sat next to him plenty of times with different events, and she says that if this is her synopsis, if Trump wins, that we're going to be singing the Russian national anthem.
Wow.
She feels like it's going to get to that point because she's saying that basically Putin is controlling Trump. Trump answers to Vladimir Putin. And this is from her synopsis of engaging with him on a physical, a visual and physical level.
Right.
So I feel like, you know what? I don't even know. I really don't know at this point. I just know I'm going to vote for Biden. And, Joe Biden has also come under fire for his plans with, the prison reform that he did back in the day. He was asked that at his last town hall. And he did say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. It was wrong. It's not something that should have actually happened. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I don't see him really putting in the work with the Black community. Now,
that's
I know
what he's talking about. That's the only reason, because I hear him saying that he's for Black, but I don't see the work. I don't see what he's actually doing. I read his plan, and I saw a whole lot about what they want to do for vaccinations to push on Black people, but I didn't see enough of what changes that they want to do. He did have it in there, but I don't see enough action from them.
Right.
I felt the same way though about Hillary, because she talks a good game, but I don't know, man. I just saw evil behind her eyes, and I didn't trust her nor Trump, and I did vote for Hillary, but that was only because there was a lot of prayer that went into that decision for me, for real. But this time, it's like, what do you do when both candidates, neither one of them, you want to vote for? I can't subscribe to the idea of vote just to vote. I know that's like the popular thing to do right now, but I don't think I don't think that's wise. I don't think that's an educated thing, and I don't like the argument that, to me, I feel like the argument that, oh, people die for you to vote. No, I don't agree with that. They did not die for us to vote. They fought and they died for us to have equal rights in this country, right? That's what they fought for. We still don't have equal rights in this country. So they would not be satisfied with us just going out and voting for, the lesser of two evils. Most people are going to vote for Biden. A vote for Biden is almost like a vote for I don't want Trump. You know what I mean? It's like Biden is running and he'll win by default.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, like that's not. I don't want that either.
The fact that Biden is, he doesn't have what I believe we need in a president, because he has done a lot of things that are racist too, and he also isn't giving us the answers that we want, like the contract with Black America. When Ice Cube did take it to him, and they're like, oh, okay, well, let's review it after the election. Now, I can understand that he wants to be strategic, but it's now the time to be strategic when you're trying to get into office. It almost seems like he is already secure with the fact that Black people are going to rally over to him because of how racist Trump is.
He's hoping, I believe that he's hoping that enough Black people are like, hey, we don't want Trump in office. He's basically riding on the fact that people hate Trump.
Right.
That's what he's riding on right now. He's hoping that people go to his side just so Trump is not in office. And shout out to Anthony Jones, but bro, I just want to address his comment. He said, bro, people did die for the right to vote. Yes, they technically did die for the right to vote, but the right to vote was one of the things they were fighting for. The point in them fighting for us to be able to vote was so that we could have equal rights in this country and have a chance at passing some laws and doing things that would actually help us in our communities. Once we got the right to vote, they changed the rules, just like they do every other time that we get that they quote unquote give us what we want, right?
Exactly.
Anytime they meet our demands, just like Stacey just said, Ice Cube went to this man with a contract. He said, we'll talk about it after the election. Bro, we don't need to talk about it after the election because you can shun me and curb me after the election. And I can't do anything about it because you're already the president. So that's what
just
I'm saying.
Like Trump.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean when I say that they didn't just die for our right to vote. If our ancestors could come and see what's going on right now, they would absolutely not be satisfied. They would still be marching or still be protesting or doing whatever it is they were doing at the same time because they see the okie doke. The okie doke just changes. They change the rules. They say, oh, okay, here, all right, fine, that's fine, you can vote. And then they'll say, okay, well, then since they can vote, we're going to take more advantage of this electoral college thing, which most people don't, sadly, a lot of people don't even know exists. And most people don't understand what it actually is and how it works, right? If I said, who are the electors in your state? For $1 million, tell me who the electors are in your state. Nobody's not going to know that. So these are the people who are actually voting for president. It's like 500 and I think it's 523 or I forgot the exact number. But it's like 500 and something people across the country that actually vote for president. Huh?
That's a good point. Yeah. I'm like, who are these people?
This is what I'm saying. I went to do research to try to find where the electoral college came from, where the idea came from, all of these things, because I'm like, I don't understand this. Everybody says, oh, go vote, go vote, go vote. But we could all go out in droves to vote. And the Supreme Court actually just passed the fact that states are able to hold their electors accountable if they vote against the popular vote for that state. because these electors are able to vote it whichever way they want. So everybody, for example, everybody, where are you, Stacey? What state are you in?
I'm in Michigan.
Michigan. So everyone in Michigan could vote for, say, Biden, right? And these electors get together, however many is in Michigan, I don't know for sure, but however many representatives, electors you guys have could get together and say, look, we're gonna vote for Trump anyway. And they'll vote for Trump. And Trump would have Michigan. Not only would he have that, but he would have all the losing votes go to his side as well. And that's how the Electoral College works. How is this right? And everybody knows, people know that it's not right. They fought many times. They lost, I think the number was like 700 and something times they tried to change this. And to no avail, because this is the power of the country. This is how they tell you that this country is a democracy, but it's really not a democracy. It's a dictatorship with icing on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically all it is. It's a big cage. No, the animals don't in the zoo. If it's a big enough zoo, they wouldn't know they're in the zoo until they walk to the gate. And if they go back and try to tell the other animals that they're in the zoo, they get put down before anything can happen. And that's the country that we live in. And by the way, Anthony Jones just put something up. I don't know if you want. I know I'm talking a lot. So go ahead, Dre. I don't know if you want to address that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, yeah, and the reason I'm putting up Anthony, I'm putting up all the comments is because this is a conversation. So I want everybody to get there, be able to express their view. Okay. So Anthony said, and you can address him, Stacey or JD or both. Okay. On March 17th, 1965, even as the Selma to Montgomery marchers fought for the right to carry out their protest, President Lyndon Johnson addressed a joint sessions of Congress calling for federal voting rights legislation to protect African Americans from barriers that prevented them from voting.
Well, my only response to that, first of all, again, shout out Anthony for engaging. I appreciate it, bro. And I feel like, I don't feel like we really disagree, but I just want to say that how has that actually worked out for us? Because that was in 1965, and here we are today. So how did it really work for us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because this is how I feel. I feel like if Martin Luther King was alive, like John Lewis just died, right? Mm. John Lewis was just marching on that same bridge that he marched with Martin Luther King. A few months back when they marched for George Floyd, him and Al Sharpton were out there marching, holding there's photos, there's video footage. You know what I'm saying? And I know John Lewis wrote a letter, an open letter, and there's a part in the letter where he says, Emmett Till was my George Floyd. So even though we've come a long way, we've still got so far to go. And I'm sure, as you said, JD, our ancestors, I'm sure they would still not be that satisfied with how everything is going. I'm sure Martin Luther King, if he was alive today, because most likely he would still be alive if he wasn't assassinated, I'm sure he would not be pleased or satisfied with where we come. Now, he would have been so happy that Barack Obama was, elected president. He would have been happy about that. But they're still killing us. We're still in poverty. We're still on the low end of the totem pole. You know what I'm saying? They're still holding us back. There's still way more blacks in jail than are not in jail. You know what I'm saying? They're putting us in jail for a bag of weed. But, you know what I'm saying, you'll have a white guy that will shoot bullets, which actually happened. A white man didn't like the daughter's boyfriend, and he shot up the boyfriend's car. Didn't kill the brother, but they gave him a charge, some BS charge, and his bail was $500 for attempted murder. And he's a white man. But the same black boy that might be 16 carrying a dime bag of weed, they want to give him 25 to 30 years. Come on.
So I'm glad that you brought up Martin Luther King, because I think that if he was alive, that he would be helping to lobby, which is what is missing. That we need more black leaders that are lobbying for us.
Right, exactly.
I agree.
when you talk about the Black vote, okay, yes, I believe it's important to vote. Please vote. But at the end of the day, we have been accustomed to voting and not demanding what we want when we vote, and not getting anything out of it, and not putting no money behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I believe that Black people should come together. We need more Black leaders that are lobbying. I appreciate Ice Cube and what he's doing. I think more Black people need to read that contract and get behind Cube. And it's not just Cube by himself, because he, brought on a lot of people. He opened it up for, people to contribute to it. And I think we need to get behind him. And I really believe that the only way we're going to see some real change and appreciate, what we're getting out of our vote is by our leaders stepping up and lobbying for us.
True.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, so Anthony says Martin Luther King said he made mistakes on the civil rights movement, and yes, he, I believe he did say, that he made mistakes. He wished that he would have done things different. Now this is, I want to bring up, Stacey, you brought up Until Freedom. Tamika Mallory is the president of Until Freedom, and I've been on their website. I've been following Tamika Mallory, and her movement. The thing I like about Until Freedom is that, they help each other, and they have a fund, okay? They have a fund that when these people go out and protest, people get arrested. You know what I'm saying? It happens. She's gotten arrested multiple times, thrown in jail. So they have a fund that you can support if you go on untilfreedom.com, and or it might be .org. I'm going to get that for you in a minute, put it on the screen. But you go on their website and you can fund their movement. So when someone gets arrested, they use that money to post bail. You know what I'm saying? You can also fund money to have them to have snacks, water while they're out there, because they're outside for hours and hours, you know what I'm saying? And they need supplies to be able to do that. Protesting is not just going out there saying, I'm just going to go out there for an hour and just yell Black Lives Matter and scream and holler and then go back home and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I respect when you have people like Tamika Mallory and her group Until Freedom, and some people in the Black Lives Matter movement too, that they're actually going, that they're trying to make a change. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need. We need more of that, and, honestly, I would love to go out there and be on the front line, protesting. Of course, because of what I do, I feel like I would be out there with my camera, obviously, trying to interview people, let them talk, then come back in, post it, or if I'm gonna go live, let it be something where people can actually be heard. You know what I'm saying? I do plan on doing that. I'm gonna vote early, and then on election day, I'm gonna be with my people, and we're gonna have our cameras out there, and I'm talking to the people. So people can let their voice be heard in a live setting. I'm going to make sure I had that happen. I didn't go out earlier because of the whole virus thing. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's calming down, but we're going to try to be as safe as possible. But in the very beginning, I just could not bring myself to go out to protest in the midst of a pandemic. But I respect everyone that's done it. Thank God for them. And, we need people like that, because if it's not for them,
Yeah. I mean, it's our turn. So the same thing that was happening in the 60s, it's happening again, and it's our turn to step up to the plate. There are people who, like you said, thank you for mentioning Until Freedom again. Please follow them and support the cause, because that's what we need. The dollar is needed, even if you're not able to step out of your house.
Right.
So absolutely. And go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, I'm not familiar with that, but I am gonna look. I know Tamika. I'm familiar with her. I'm just not familiar with the whole movement. But I was gonna say, when you said about we need more Black leaders and more people lobbying, yeah, we do, and I think that we need a lot of local leadership, a lot of local Black leadership, instead of us as a whole looking to Al Sharpton or looking to, you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of times Black people, we put ourselves in one category, like, oh, we just all want the same thing. You know what I mean? And that's not true. There's so many different walks of life amongst Black people. You know what I mean? And we need different things, and different cities need different things. You know, and I feel like these leaders, these local leaders, should be asking the people what they want instead of just jumping on a soapbox and saying Black people need this and this and this. Like, I always had a problem, and I've said this numerous times. I have a when quote unquote Black leaders make all this money, right? By stating,
thanks for tuning in.
Huh?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
You're just shouting out her cousin, right?
Oh, no doubt. No, I was gonna say, like, when all these leaders come around and they get on their soapbox and they're saying, oh, you know, Black people need this and that, and we're not being treated right, and the police, and they get rich and have these rallies and people pay and all these books and all these different things, stating the problem, but never a solution. Black people don't need to know what the problem is. We live the problem every day. We know what the problem is. We need more people talking about solutions. What are the solutions? And I'm not expecting one person to have the answer, but that's the whole point. How are you speaking for a whole group of people across a whole entire country when all of these people Black people in the South have different, we all have similar issues in some regard, but Black people in the South may need something different from the people in the North or the West, or, you know what I'm saying, the things that they face. Like, there's a lot more gang activity. There's more gang activity now on the East Coast than it's ever been, you know, than it used to be when we were growing up. But the West Coast had a lot of gang activity at one point. So, you know, that was something that should have been addressed, particularly on their end, right? So when somebody gets up and stands and tries to represent the whole Black culture, and they never even bothered to ask, what do you guys want? You know what I'm saying? I've never gotten an email petition. I've never gotten a petition to say what we want. It's almost like automatic. So then you have white people stepping up and saying, Black people need X, Y, and Z. How do you know?
Right.
How do you know what we feel? Black people feel this and that. It's the most hilarious thing when I see two white people talking about the plight of the Black man. It's like, or Black people in general. I'm like, how do you know? You know what I'm saying? Who is your connection?
Right. Those are very good points, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. I hear a lot of people trying to speak for the Black community that aren't in tune with the culture at all.
Right.
And we can clearly see it. Like, Candace Owens isn't in tune with the culture.
Right.
She's just not. And
Exactly.
like a Daniel Cameron, he's not in tune with the culture. But specifically, even Kamala, like, you know, I want to get behind her. You know, she's a Black woman, and you know, she's running saying that, you know, she's for Black people, that she's doing a lot for us. And I'm just learning about her. You know, I really want to get behind her. But the first things that she said out of her mouth was, well, we're going to give the Black people what they need, which is vaccinations. And we're going to give it to you as soon as possible. And I don't want that.
I don't want no vaccination.
I don't either. What Black people has she's been talking to?
I'm like, what Black people are you talking to?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know.
That's real.
That's crazy. It's, you know, what's crazy is that, see, you said Candace Owens, and I meant to say this earlier. The thing that I like about her, what got me, first of all, I like the way that she debates, right? Whether I agree with her or not, I can respect the way someone debates, right? But one thing she did say that I agreed with was she was trying to tell Black people not to just vote Democrat, like just because, like, oh, like the Democrat, and, you know, some of her arguments, you know what I'm saying, whatever, but the fact that she said, oh, just don't vote Democrat just because, I agree with, because honestly, I've done that. With the very first time that I voted, when I first got of age to vote, that's what I did. I found out that my parents were Democrats. I was young. I didn't really know what was going on at the time. And I was like, oh, we're Democrats. Okay, so this is who we support. Some of those names on the ballot, I didn't even know who they were. And I'm ashamed of this now that I did that. But I'm like, I didn't even know who they were. But I was like, okay, they're on the Democrat side. Okay, boom, 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 boom. And I'm voting. And that's what a lot of people do. That's what a lot of my friends have done. That's what a lot of older people were doing. And that's what people are going to do when election day comes this time. because that's what they're used to doing. They're like, oh, Democrat, okay, this person's a Democrat, okay, that's who we're gonna go with. Or people say, oh, I'm Republican, okay, that's who I'm gonna go with. But as you said earlier, Stacey, you need to educate yourself on who you're voting for. Unfortunately, after my education, the brief education I do have, I don't agree with either party, so I'm conflicted at this point.
Yeah, same thing as Crystal Lucas. She says, I'm skeptical of all of them. They talk a good talk. Yeah,
amen. That's exactly.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And also, Kamala Harris, she actually at one point didn't identify as black when she was, in the Congress and everything. She didn't actually consider herself African American. So I forgot what her other race is.
I heard it was Indian or something.
Yeah. She was identifying as like Indian American or something like that, and she was omitting, the African American side of her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then she was a part of putting a lot of black folk in jail also back in the day. So it's almost like maybe she's like, okay, now I need the black vote, so I gotta, I know there was a time where she got off the airplane and she had on some bogus Timbs,
Oh my God!
Even though everybody was looking at the Timbs like those are not even New York Timbs, they look like a sneaker version of a Timberland. But it's like they're trying so hard. And then when you look at also Joe Biden, I feel like Joe Biden is really trying to ride the coattail of being the vice president of Barack Obama. So most likely he feels like the Barack Obama supporters are going to really vote for him because he was on the Barack Obama ticket. But we have to look at it like this too. Barack Obama, he gets a lot of slack too, saying that people say he didn't do enough for us. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the way I look at it is that Barack Obama could not be the first black president and just be black people's president. So I feel like he did what he could. You know what I'm saying? If he had like 16 years, like if he could do 4 terms, I'm sure he would really do right by us. But it was going to be, they were already stopping stuff that he did anyway. So even like Obamacare, imagine if he would have got reparations for us.
Right.
So to speak, Trump would have shut that down quick as soon as he got elected. He would have been like, nope, no reparations. Sorry, for whatever reason.
Man, the only thing that I it's just so these people are it's like I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like, and I hate to sound like, oh man, they need to do more for us and they need to do more for black people and this and that. All I'm saying is, you don't have to do it for me. Just take your foot off my neck and I'll do it for myself. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's not like people, it's funny because people come from other countries and then they look at us. They've already been brainwashed before they get here about African Americans, right? Then they get here and they look at us like, how did I surpass you? Well, you did surpass me because you know what? You got the bank loan. You know what? You got the job. You know what? You got the grant. Like, it's like, we were trying to do all of these things as well. It's not like people are not trying to do it and haven't done it before, but there's a weight on us here because we're the only group of people that are in this country that were here without their control. We did not come here of our own, you know what I'm saying, on our own. Yeah. We were brought here. And then we are the ancestors of we are the offspring of the people who were forced to come to a place where they had no place. Their only place was servitude. So once that place was gone, they had to revamp it somehow. But some of us got loose. Some of us are not in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're free. So guess what? They had to suppress it somehow because truthfully, there is no place for us in this country. So when we find a way and we make a way, every time we make a way, they come and they try and tear it down or they try to stop it. So it's like we still survive and we still thrive, even though they've had this quote unquote foot on our necks for all these years. We still thrive. That's what they're afraid of. And that's why the foot is there, because if there was no foot, if there was no oppression to slow it down, they can't stop it. They've just been trying to slow it down in every way they can. So we don't need them to give us anything. Just take your foot off of my neck and let me go get it myself.
Right, because if African Americans, if you know what I'm saying, if we could really stick together, there was a story that I see in, I believe this is in a place in Georgia. It's a
Hmm.
small town in Georgia where 11 families put their money together and they bought hundreds, like thousands of acres of land. And they plan on building a small community that they're gonna have their own bank in it, supermarket,
Hmm.
everything. You remember they had Black Wall Street back in the day, so it's like they're gonna
Yes.
build something like that now, where and it's just maybe I don't know if they can have their own policing there, but they're coming together. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, if they would take their foot off our neck and stop suppressing us, and then of course black people, if we would stop with shopping with stuff that makes no sense, buying, spending our money on foolishness and actually investing our money and keeping it inside of our own community. Because this is something I've said a lot of times before, when it comes to boycotting, why can't we boycott, let's say if 100,000 African Americans that live inside of a city say, hey, I'm not shopping at Walmart until I see a change in this part, or I'm not gonna put my money inside of Chase Bank.
Now that's how we should be protesting.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. But see, the problem is,
But we can't
they-
it. Like we'll hop on it for like a day or two, and then it's like, okay, back to normal. But we need to stay committed to it.
but we can though, and we have. That's what I want people to know, is that when you talk about suppression, and you guys was mentioning earlier about how they get into your mind, we get into the mentality, infiltrate your mentality. That's what they do to our communities, because it has been done. It's not if it can get done. It has been done numerous times. Now, Black Wall Street is probably the most famous story, but there are numerous stories just like Black Wall Street. And what a lot of people don't know is every time they stroll through Central Park itself was a Black community. It was an all Black community, thriving Black community. They came and did the same thing they did to Black Wall Street and shut the whole thing down. And now it's Central Park. And so when we go by Central Park, it's like, oh, Central Park was a Black neighborhood, all Black neighborhood, right? There's been many of them. There was some in Georgia, North Carolina, I think Utah, or some of those west. There's been a lot. If you research towns, you put in Wall Street, Black Wall Street, and you put similar stories, you're gonna see a whole bunch of stories, just like that. But like I said, with the whole voting thing, once we figure it out, they change the rules before it can get too far. They change the rules, and when they couldn't change the rules, they had to literally send, using Black Wall Street as an example, they had to literally send an assault, a full-out assault, to destroy it. There was no other way to stop it. They cannot stop us unless they have that oppression there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And there's some other stories too. So many stories like Black Wall Street. There
Right.
was an African American gentleman that he had like a like a farm, cattle, everything. Another one that had a gas station. You know what I'm saying? They arrested the husband that had the gas station. He employed like 4 people. You have the farm. This guy is employing like 20 people, African American. So they arrest him, put him on some false charges, put him in jail. You know what I'm saying? While he's in jail, his business suffers. Then
Right.
the town city comes and they just confiscate everything. The whole town is devastated. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the one with the gas station, I believe they killed the gentleman, and his family couldn't survive because he was dead. So they just took over the gas station, and it was like, it's just so many things. But listen, this is the thing that I'm thinking about. Why is it that they don't come in and say, okay, you have the Chinese that come in, you have the Arabs that come in. The only time that they will attack the Chinese or like the Indian, the Arabs or whatever is, okay, 9/11, they started attacking the Arabs, the Indian, anybody Indian or a Muslim, they're attacking them because it was like, oh my gosh, this is all Muslim doing it. Coronavirus, oh, it's the Chinese, they're attacking the Chinese, you know what I'm saying? But they don't actually suppress the Arabs and the Chinese like they do African American. They've been suppressing us forever, and I think they're so used to it that it's like, okay, when are they gonna give us a break? The Arab Chinese can come in, you know, saying Chinese have the Chinese restaurant. They have massage parlors. They have all of this type of play. They getting money from. They got the money. They doing it. Why can't we have a restaurant that has so many franchises? Somebody said this the other day on Facebook, and I thought about it. Have you ever seen a Chinese food commercial ever in your life?
No, no need to.
Yeah, so it's like they doing it. They don't need no advertising. All they need to do is have it there. You know what I'm saying? Just like I believe that I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Soul food. We could have millions of soul food restaurants around the globe and we don't need one commercial. McDonald's need all this commercial, which I think they could stop with the commercials now for fast food, if to be honest. I don't think they're going to lose one dime if they stop promoting McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, KFC, all these places. But they do it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, just thinking about it, why don't they attack? Is it because they feel like if they attack, you know, like Russians, or if they attack certain people that, you know, maybe the Russian community may come in and have a backlash, but they know black folk ain't gonna have no big backlash? What is it? What do you think, Stacey?
Well, I feel like, you know, a lot of these communities, like the Chinese community and the Muslim communities, they all, they really are committed to their community. And they're not trying to be like, oh, kumbaya, like let the whole world accept us. No, they get their own little spot, and then they like, all right, we claim our spot. This is us. We sticking with us. And I also think that they lobby better. So that there's that as well. Like they're getting their piece of land, and it's like they're not even sitting there accepting what they have been given. They're taking what they want versus us accepting what we are given. And we're not going after them saying, all right, give us this. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we are where we are right now. Because it's like, all right, it's trying to ask some things. What are we getting out of this deal?
Exactly.
I don't think black people have enough power. And the reason they don't have enough power is because we have nothing to there's nothing to barter. Like, you know, it's all these other communities. Number one, these other communities have a sense of culture. Black people's sense of culture changes every generation because our culture is rooted. Our culture was stolen. So it's basically our culture is rooted in the things that we create, because we constantly create culture for our, you know, every generation has something to do with it, which is why our younger generation and the older generation amongst black people, there's always some sort of disconnect because there's no common culture. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it makes a people stronger. And plus, all else fails, those people can go back to China, they can go back to Japan, Korea, they can go back to even Jamaicans, they can go back to Jamaica, Trinidad, wherever they are from, they can go back there. Where are we going? If they said to us, go back to Africa, they act like Africa is a country. People talk about Africa like it's a country. It's a continent. And not only is it a continent, it's the largest one. So if you send black people back, where are we going? I would have no idea where to go to connect to my culture and my roots and to have a common ground and a common culture. So
this country is more ours than it is theirs anyways.
This is true, but the culture of it isn't.
We built this country.
We did.
Black people were already here before they said we were here. And so you can't tell us to go back nowhere. This is ours.
Right, but it's not. Except it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, we built it, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately,
we don't have a deed in our name. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
and we did, but they took it. But you know what though? Because here's the thing. I believe like this. I believe right now, if let's say, you know, the American government said, look, anybody who's Russian, we're gonna like do X, Y, and Z to them, right? Now they have allies. Right? Because they can actually connect back to Russia. So if you catch the wrong Russian, You know what I'm saying? Like you catch the wrong one, then they have some allies, and they might have a country who's willing to come and fight for them or come to their aid in some sort of way. Even if it's financial, whatever it is, they may have that. You know, these other countries too, China, whoever else, they may have some allies. We don't. Because I can't even say, you know what, let me go call, you know, whoever in Kenya and say, this is what's going on in America. They don't even know how to identify us. They don't. It's sad, but they don't. So we don't. What do we have to go to now when we try to build something? Because like Andre said earlier, that we discussed this. Like a real plan would be to have our own community, which we are very capable and able to do because it's been done. But my question, I guess, where I get blocked off is like, how do we stop? How do we build a Black Wall Street per se, right? And then protect it against the attack that came the last time? Like, how do we avoid or protect ourselves against that happening? Because we can very well build a new one. It's really not that difficult to do. And Black people have enough wealth in this country to do it. It's just, how do we stop that from happening?
Number one, group economics.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to bring our money together more and build things. People are doing it right now.
Right.
I'm not sure if you guys heard about the Black House, which is in Atlanta, and the Tulsa fund, Tulsa something fund.
Okay.
But yeah, they are doing it, and group economics is how we're going to get there. And that's how we can rebuild. You know, that's one of the main things we need to do is bring our money together so that we don't need to ask for money, that we're using our own money. And also, you know, more Black banks, more Black lenders, you know, that can help us to build. So I think those are some of the main things that we need in order to have built these things and, you know, have our own, not only just schools, but, you know, our own hospitals, our own banks, our own everything, so that we don't need to go outside of our community for so much. You know, the Black dollar outside of our community, like, you know, quickly. So, so that's what needs to be changed to me.
I think that we also need a Black police force, man. I think that we should be able to have our own police force. And I didn't notice till some years back, a lot of small towns in Long Island, a lot of these communities, they have their own private police force. Like, it's legal that they can have their own police force. I feel like we need that because how we protect, like, even if we pooled all our money together, even if we got land, we bought, you know, we built businesses, banks, all of those things. And on another show, I had run down like what I felt was like the order of priority, you know what I'm saying, order of operations to build that. And it's really not that hard. But once we have it built, how do we protect it? Because how do we stop them from coming and tearing it down? You know what I mean? Like, we can build the sandcastle, but how do we stop them from coming and kicking it over is what I'm saying. Because they did it with Black Wall Street. They did it with all these other Black communities that did it in the past. You know what I'm saying? And so how do we do that?
Our own means to protect ourselves.
And what you mean in the form of like a police force, or in the form of like arming ourselves?
Both.
Okay. I'm with that. I mean, you know, I'm with that.
Yeah, I think after seeing all of these times where we've been bombed, that we would start thinking of ways to protect ourselves by having our own weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, but then as soon as we do that, it's a terrorist label, and then we all get locked up. I mean, you know, I'm just trying to say, like, I think that if these Black leaders are coming together and all these people who are talking about lobbying, I feel like, and I think I've heard a few people say some things to that regard. I just feel like that's what the Panthers were trying to do, and they saw it. And so we see how the Black Panthers' reputation is. Their reputation is leather jackets, you know, shotguns, and
the reputation, what they were doing was perfect.
Exactly, but
and so they became
in hindsight, they became terrorists of the country because they were actually doing good. They don't show them how they were feeding people and protecting people. They don't show all of that. They just show that part. So as soon as you start doing something that's close to that, and I'm not trying to bring up, like, because I hate bringing up problems without a solution. So I'm really, really asking, like, anybody in the comments, whoever listens to this, like, please send it in, because I think that needs to be the discussion. You know what I'm saying? Not just, that's why it annoys me when I just hear these commercials and black people are saying, just vote, just vote, just vote. I'm like, vote for what? Vote for who? What are we voting for? You know what I'm saying? What are we really protesting for? What are we asking for? What are our demands? What is Black Lives Matter? What are their demands? What do we want, really?
Right.
Yeah, because another thing, as when you ask the question, you know what I'm saying, what can we do to come together? You know, I was sitting there thinking, and you know, I feel like we need to do things by the book. You know what I'm saying? So if, you know, whether we say we're gonna get our guns together, you know, so I have a lot of friends that, you know, African American that are, you know, they got a gun. They purchased gun. They've been doing gun training. I've seen posts on social media where African American families, the husband makes sure his whole family knows how to use a weapon.
Yep.
From the 10-year-old son to the wife, you know what I'm saying? They're trained, you know what I'm saying? But we need to do it by the book, you know what I'm saying? And even with bringing, you know, together, trying to build a community, we can't cut corners, you know what I'm saying? If you're an African American mother, you're a single mother, don't put your, you know what I'm saying, don't put the light bill in your child's name, you know what I'm saying, if that's going to ruin their credit. You know, people have done that. I'm not knocking nobody for doing it, but you got to do it by the book, because everything that we do that's underhanded, anytime we try to cut corners, whatever, they're going to find it and they're going to try to stop us. So if we do every single thing by the book, do it the right way, make sure we educate ourselves on how to do it, educate ourselves on financial literacy, how to save our money, invest on whatever we got to do, then when they try to stop us, they can't stop us, because unless they really try to burn us down, you know, we have to get to the point where the only thing they can do is literally put a gun to our head and just shoot us dead. Once we get to that point, that's when we know we're doing something good. But right now, they could just find any loophole. Oh, that mother over there is using their children, and their children are not of age. They're minors. So because you're using a minor social security number to get this bank loan, you can't get it. Do it the right way. Do what you got to do.
People don't have any, I don't think our government, I think people need to really, like, wake up and take a look at the fact that the people who are in power, and I don't even want to say our government, because our government, that's a whole other story. I ain't even gonna get that deep. But the people who are in power have no problem putting the gun in your head and pulling the trigger. What people have to realize is how to negotiate. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the reason why small businesses pay like 40% in taxes, mm-hmm, and large businesses only pay about 20%, if that, is because those large businesses, there's only a certain few areas that are big business like that, right? Things that we think are large businesses, like we probably would look at like a Target or somebody like that as a big corporation. I'm talking about people who are into agriculture, banking, real estate, things like that. The reason why they get bailouts and the reason why the government gives them so much money to use is because they're doing the country's work for them. In order to run a country, a president should really have a business degree or a lot of business knowledge, because if you're running a company, running a country is like running a business. So if you're not negotiating with that business in a sense where you're bringing something to that business to say, look, we can actually do this to help the country, but if we're going to do that, we need this from you. This country has a problem doing that. They're like, okay, you're going to build houses. Oh, you need $500 million to build these houses. Okay, here you go. Here goes $500 million to build these homes, because you're going to build these homes in this area, and it's going to house all of these people, because that's the country's job, is to do those type of things. So if you're not bringing, the country doesn't care about me starting a record label. That doesn't help the country. So they're not going to give me money to do something like that. They're not going to give me money. If I'm into agriculture and I own the farm, they'll give me money because I'm helping feed the country. I'm doing things that will allow the country to run. If we don't get our mindset on, okay, how would this work for them? They wouldn't want to stop me doing this, because this is actually helping them. Instead of us just always, marching down the thing and saying, you need to give us this and do this and do this and do this. It's like, all right, look, guess what? I know you don't want to help me, but I have this thing that you actually need. And that's why a lot of these other nationalities can come here and do the things that they do and operate the way that they do. The ones who are coming with something, because they're coming with bartering something. Like, you let me in this country and you allow me to operate this way, I'm going to be able to do this for this country. I'm the plug to my country where you guys need this. So I have the plug to that. So if you let me come here and you let me operate, you're going to get this out of it. If we start thinking that way, then we'll have some more power. But to your point, Stacey, before, it's like we were talking before, it's like we don't have anything to barter, really. We do, but we don't know it. Our dollar is a very large bargaining tool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. There are some things that we have that we need to leverage a lot better.
Yes.
One thing I would say is, when it comes to medicine and healing, and specifically holistic medicine, there are a lot of Black people who are holistic providers who have been, discovering, remedies and helping people to heal their bodies and to be a lot more healthier. That's one of the things that I believe that we have that needs to be leveraged a lot more.
I agree.
Combat against the need for so much pharmaceutical medicine, against the need for, all this stuff in our bodies that we don't need, and to fight against coronavirus and so many other things, like leveraging the knowledge from holistic medicine people will definitely help us in that area. But not just that, but also technology and being more technologically advanced as a culture. Because if we're coming up with new technologies, definitely the whole world needs that.
Yeah.
So our children need to be a lot more into, or exposed to STEM and STEM programs, so that we are developing things, so that we're coming up with new technologies.
Right. I agree. And we also need to make sure that we have a way to protect them, because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tesla, not the car, but the actual scientist. And you read about his story and what they did to him. And he was trying to help the world through technology. A lot of the technology we have actually comes from his study and his research. But because he I feel like because he had a right spirit, he was doing it the right way, that people wanted to take advantage of it and he wouldn't allow, so they had to get rid of him. And so this man, this brilliant mind, used his brilliance to help the world. And because they wouldn't let him, because they wouldn't take advantage of him, he lived out his latter years alone in like some hotel room or something like that, and died that way. So we have to be able to protect our people and our kids with the knowledge we have, because they've been taking, like you said, we built this country. They've been using our knowledge and our know-how for centuries. You know what I'm saying? And not compensating us for it, and not even giving us credit for it.
Yeah, and we've been used to it, which is sad.
Yeah, that's the exact thing. We're it's a shame, but because, like you said, we don't know our power. We don't realize what we have to leverage. Right. Just like our dollar, like you said about our dollar, we could really shut this country down, because if we shut down our dollar for longer, and they did some shut down dollar for the day type of thing.
Yeah,
and
then
I'm like,
Black Tuesday.
Yeah, but I'm like, okay, and then what? It was like back to business as usual. Were we just trying to prove a point? Like we still never got what we want. Is like, if we take our dollar from y'all, we can hurt you. See? And then we did it for a day, and they were like, oh, you know what? They can. And that's why you have people kind of mouth catering to us like, yeah, we want to do this and Black Lives Matter and all of that. But what are we really getting? We got tricked by Clinton. We got tricked by everybody who comes in our neighborhood and eats a beef patty or some oxtail or something like that, and then we just befriend them because naturally we are, and this is my opinion, but I feel like we are very tribal and we're very welcoming.
Kumbaya.
Yeah, exactly. So we're like, oh, we just want to help the next man. We want, we want to share knowledge. We want to do, but they don't want to do that. They want to come and they want to act friendly so that they can gain the knowledge. And then when they don't need us for it anymore, they get rid of us. They did the same thing to the natives when they got here. We know the story. You know what I'm saying? We know the story. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. They've been doing it, and then they disrespect you and call you something that you're not. Like people were calling natives Indians when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, how did centuries go by and you really don't realize that this idiot made the wrong turn and went to the wrong place, but you're still calling these people Indians? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't even smart enough to go to the right place. So, but he found what he found, learned what he needed to learn, took that knowledge, and then got rid of everyone else. And that's what they're doing to us all the time. They hire us when we have knowledge. They'll hire us into their company. They'll make us feel like we're better than everyone else, every other Black person at their company. Take all the knowledge we have for as long as we're willing to give it to them, and when they don't need us anymore, you get the can. That's how we have to start protecting our knowledge and the things that we do, and like you said, leverage it a lot better.
Right.
Exactly. Also with even sports. You know
Same
what I'm
thing.
saying? We're dominating in sports, and yes, LeBron is getting paid millions of dollars. Jordan was getting paid millions of dollars. All these football players, multi-million-dollar contracts. But Chris Rock said it in one of his specials a while back. He said Shaquille O'Neal is rich. The white man that signs his check is wealthy.
Is wealthy, exactly. That's what I was about to say. I'm like, as much as millions as LeBron makes, somebody's signing that check. And whoever signs that check has way more than he does, and they're not putting in half the work.
And then guess what? As soon as LeBron James gets injured, imagine if LeBron James gets injured to the fact that he can't play anymore. They're not going to give him another dime. That's it.
Absolutely.
Of course, he'll have endorsements, but then, of course, if
he
can't play anymore,
exactly.
the endorsement will be like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. We just need to
still have endorsements. LeBron is a smart businessman. A lot of the athletes are smart businessmen, but it don't even matter because at the end of the day, they're getting paid by someone else to play basketball, and then they're expected to not speak their opinion.
Right.
And so people be like, shut up and shoot the ball. Shut up and
play.
Yeah, shut up and dribble. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Shut up and dribble. And it's just like, wow, really? Like, they still don't get enough respect. And I understand why. It's because they're still playing for white people.
Right. And if you Black people have I was talking to my friend Sparks about this, and it's like Black people have such a burden sometimes, because even like, okay, so there's 3 of us here. So 1 out of 3 of us may become, financially successful, right? All right. Well, that's good. but see, what happens is you now, because right, because you have love for the other 2 people, you want to see us on the level that you're on, but we don't have those opportunities unless you give them to us. So now, if I'm not prepared for that opportunity, you might have the burden, the emotional burden on you, like, oh, I want to help him because now the dynamic changes. We might have hung out every single day before any of us got money. Now, when you get money and now you have all the you're the plug, I guess, to success at this point. Mm-hmm. Now, if you can't, right, if you don't help us out, then we will turn on you, almost like, yeah, she thinks she good and she can't help nobody, But at the same time, if I'm not prepared for that, if I'm not prepared for that opportunity, or if you try to give me an opportunity and I mess that opportunity up, it might mess your opportunity up. So it's not where where you can find something and say, you know what? There's this piece of land that's for sale, for foreclosure. If we all had $10,000, we could pool our money together and go get this land and build something. But if you're the only one out of the group that has $10,000 and you need 30 and we don't have it, then we're all in the same place now. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't grow from there. So it's like we have that type of burden. We don't have those communities where people can go call this person, pool everybody's money. I mean, we could do that, but we've been placed with the mentality not to. So that's one of those things. I mean, we said that earlier, but that's one of those things that I feel like kind of needs to change a little bit. Is the mentality, and starting from the kids.
Absolutely, I agree with that 1,000%.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. I mean, so much blood has been shed due to jealousy.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are coming up and they're making a lot of money, they're making some big moves, they're even flashy sometimes, and then they'll still mingle in the community, and the community can't handle it. They
they can't.
They like, oh, you around us and you got all this money and we starving?
Right.
You can barely feed our kids. Like, let me just take something from you then, since you got it all. So that right there, that problem right there, is one of the biggest things that we need to tackle as a community, to realize that as you are growing and making money, you have to continue to figure out ways. And I'm never going to excuse crime and jealousy, but I'm just saying it's still our responsibility to figure out how we can all rise together.
Right. And it's the only real way is each one teach one, I think. What you say?
Find ways for us to rise up together so that it's not like, you feel like you got to take from somebody else or you got to hate on somebody.
Right. And I hate to use this example, but
use it anyway.
But like, I know, but like in with drugs, right? Like I don't do drugs, man, but I'm saying when you look at like how certain people would run their drugs in the community, it would be like they would help AZ, right? AZ, there was a movie called Paid in Full. I don't know if y'all are familiar with it, whatever, but it was about the drug dealer AZ in Harlem, whatever, right? And Al Capone and all them. So anyway, he was saying like how he wanted to put on people in his community instead of them hating, because he knew, he could have kept all the money to himself, but then he would have to watch his back every day. He would have too many things to combat. But if everybody else is on the same playing field, and Dame Dash says this a lot as well, he's like, if you're only as successful as the poorest person in your crew, right? Because if you're the only person in your crew that's successful, then something's wrong, because now you're going to have, like you said, you're going to have the jealousy. People are going to turn on you. And it's not anything you've done wrong. It's just something that's within other people, because they can't stand being around you. You know what I'm saying? When you have everything and they don't, especially if you're not sharing it. And even sometimes when you do share, people resent you for it, because you're the one who can actually help them, and they don't want, their pride doesn't want to receive that. So there's a lot of dysfunction. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of dysfunction with people that I think has to start at the level of children. You know what I mean? Like people like us who are conscious of it, need to just start working on our kids and mentoring younger people. And when we have opportunities to give those opportunities, and then teach those people you're giving opportunities to how to give opportunities to someone else. So if I give you an opportunity, don't worry about paying me back. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about trying to pay me back. You pay it forward to the next person so that they can have an opportunity to pay it forward to the next person. And that's how we're gonna rise. And that's how we have a community of people where we can say, hey, this thing is for sale. I need $10,000, dollars or $30,000. Let's get 5 people together and make it happen.
Right.
Exactly. Anthony says selling drugs is a bad example. LOL.
You're probably right, Anthony. I know. I was trying to find something else, bro. I couldn't think of nothing.
Sometimes people who was, former drug dealers, they realize, like, you know what? I did so much wrong to my community.
Right.
I'm trying to change things now. I'm trying to lift my community up.
Right.
I know that Nipsey Hussle done a lot for his community.
Right.
Previously, was in that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So, he did a lot for his community. What would our Black community look like if we had a whole lot more neighborhood Nips?
Right.
We have a lot of them, but we need to support them more, and we need to, help to develop more, with youth development and mentorship.
Right. There used to be a lot more youth programs growing up than there are now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those things got shut down. And again, just using Nipsey, like, yeah, Nipsey understood what his people actually needed because he was in the neighborhood. He was a part of the neighborhood. He was a part of all of that. So he had a better understanding of what his people actually needed. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. I want our people to grow, man. And I don't know. I don't have all the answers, like I said, man. But anybody, I'm willing to support, and I'm willing to do whatever I can if somebody comes up with something better. I mean, the only thing I can do, like I told Andre before, I got tired of seeing all the garbage on my block, and garbage men would come through, and these other neighborhoods, you don't have that problem. The garbage men come through, they don't leave garbage on the ground. They don't leave all, your garbage can at the neighbor's house or halfway down the block. You know what I'm saying? But on my block, I got tired of seeing it. And instead of I wanted to go and petition everybody just to be like, hey, let's do something about this. But I was like, you know what? The best thing I could do is just go up my block with one of those little scooper things and pick up the trash. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I got to meet more people on my block. And that's how our block started rolling a little bit, where people started, making sure that the block was clean, because it was like, oh, who are you? I had to ask people. I wouldn't walk in their yard, but I would walk to their door. Do you mind if I clean the garbage out your yard? You understand what I'm saying? As opposed to me saying, let's sign this petition to make the garbage men, clean up. We can't make the garbage men clean up. So let's just clean up our yard. And if they see that our block is clean, when I see the garbage men, I can say, look, man, don't do this on our block, please. You understand what I'm saying? And look, I know y'all get paid or whatever, but look, on this block, here's a little bit extra. Please don't drop garbage on our block, man. Keep our block looking clean. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you, that's the most that I could do, because I'm not running for office. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be beating down Leroy Comrie's door. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make this man do something that I know he's not going to do. We just got to do it ourselves. Once we start doing something and we stay committed and stay faithful to it, then other people will follow.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's 1,000 things that we could be doing on our own that we expect this next, leadership to do. And it's just
right.
There's a lot you can be doing right now in your own community, in your own neighborhood. So thank you for what you're doing, and I'm definitely inspired to do more.
Yeah, me too. I know it's more that I could do. You know what I mean? And I'll leave this with the people. Leaders, real leaders don't wait to be voted in. They just go. If you're in a group, if you're in a crowd of people and something's happening and everybody needs to get out of there, a leader's going to yell out, hey, everybody, go this way. They're not going to take a petition and say, hey, you guys want me to lead you out of here? Hey, you guys want me to lead you out of here? Let's make a vote. You guys want me to lead you out of here? They're just going to lead and say, hey, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And the people who trust them are going to follow them. And the people who don't, it is what it is. But if you want to do something and you want to see a change, man, just be it. That's all I can say.
Exactly.
That's what I'm looking for from Biden and Kamala, to do something now. Like, you don't have to wait until the election is over. Something, there are things that you can do now. Like, I know that Kamala was talking about, that she disagreed with what happened with the Breonna Taylor case, but she also was a prosecutor, and she also is, able to actually make changes, with laws. So what
Right.
are you going to do, ma'am? I understand, I hear you what you're saying, but we need you to show us something.
Right. Exactly. It's funny. I saw a comment with Anthony. He was saying something about. He said we work together in North Amityville. I have a friend that does a back to school sneaker giveaway, and they give out almost 200 sneakers every year. That's actually really dope. We were doing. I worked at a I used to work at a detention center, and a friend of mine, he was giving away. He kind of ran it or whatever, but they wanted to give sneakers to the kids. So my brother-in-law, he had like a crazy Jordan sneaker collection. So he gave some away too. That's a good thing for those kids. It gives them a lot of self-esteem, especially when they're in there. But I was gonna say to Anthony, please, man, if you could share that, even if it's off air, like just share how people can donate to that, because I think that's I really think that's a dope cause. You know what I mean? So he said it's in Amityville. So yeah,
Amityville is in Long Island. That's where I'm from.
Right.
I know Anthony, so I know Anthony. So
I'll hook up. Cool.
Yeah. So Anthony, I will definitely get in touch with you. We'll actually come out there, try to do whatever we can to bring awareness, especially with this platform. Come out there with our cameras, let people talk and let the, and just see what you guys are doing out there. Right. So
yeah, and Anthony, let us know what you need. Let us know what you actually need.
Yeah,
I don't want to be like, oh, they just need sneakers donations. Nah, let us know what you actually need so that we can, if we can't do it, or at least I'll speak for myself. If I can't do it, then I'll at least try to find someone who can, or try to get some, try to get somebody who can. I think that's dope.
All right, great. All right, so I wanted to just I'm not stopping our conversation. Mm-hmm. I just want to get to a few things that I definitely needed to get on the screen, and then we can see where else the conversation takes us.
Okay.
So really quickly, I just want to tell people about voting, okay? If you want to know about early voting, go to vote.org. All right. And you can, I think there's a thing that says early voting, a tab that says early voting. You're just going to type in your address or your location, and then it should let you know all of the places that have early voting. All right, guys. And then also, let me take that banner off. I'm sorry. And then, we have some mail-in ballots that have been requested. Right now, and then the mail-in ballots that have been returned, and this has actually been updated. So all right, so you could just see everything here on the numbers of the mail-in ballots that have been requested. Personally, I don't mail-in ballots. For me, I'm not sure about mail-in ballots because they're making fake drop boxes. They're actually creating false drop boxes. Okay, so we have to really be, they're doing that. So we want to be careful with these drop boxes. Okay, guys. And if you can just go vote. Don't really deal with the mail-in. That's my personal opinion.
I'm going in.
Yeah, and if you could do early voting, do early. Like I said, I'm doing early on this Saturday. So JD, you said you got to go.
Oh yeah, I gotta go pick up my daughter, man. I hate to leave the conversation, though. It was a good conversation.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, man. And I'll talk to you later on. I'll text you. I'll call you when we get off the air. We're going to get off in a few minutes. I just got to do some, just do a few more things that I want to make sure got talked about today, man. So thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, Dre. And good to meet you, Stacey. I'm sorry. And thank you, Anthony, for your comments, and everyone else. Hope you guys have a great night.
All right. Have a good night.
And Stacey, this won't be the last time you're on the show, right? I'll let Andre deal with it.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Cool. All right, man. Thank y'all for having me. I'm out, man. All right, man. All right, bro.
No justice, no peace.
No doubt. Peace.
All right, peace.
All right.
All right, Stacey. So we had a good conversation with JD. Everything was flowing good. We're about to end this because we've been on for 2 hours. Woo! Usually the show is an hour, but we were just flowing, so I just had to keep it going. So let's just finish up here. All right, these are the current numbers also Joe Biden is at 52%, 52.3%, and Donald Trump is trailing at 43. I wouldn't even really call that trailing, but he's low. So we got to get the numbers higher for the ones that are going to that are going to be voting for Joe Biden. All right. So I got one more thing. I just want to play this video because I am voting for Biden. I want to give everybody a reason to vote for Biden. So I'm just going to play 2 videos and then we are out of here. All right. Here we go with number 1.
We're seeing it again. The virus spreading out of control. The president once again failing to act. Joe Biden knows we need to listen to medical experts and take action now. That starts by expanding testing, calling for mask mandates nationwide, starting immediately, and producing more protective gear here at home. Fighting this virus and rebuilding our economy will take a president who's ready to lead.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
All right, and then here is the last video.
Rough 4 years.
You can say that again.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
All right.
You should have with those videos.
I should have opened up with them, right?
A whole lot about.
Yeah, but that last one was really telling because it was like, that's really what happened. Like the Republicans, and they used the elephant because the Republican, I think that's the symbol of Republican is the elephant. So it's like the elephant went to bed with Trump, and it's like basically like a bad one night stand, basically. So, I mean, Michelle Obama said it. If we think things can't get any worse, then we have to vote, guys. We have to vote. I saw in the comments Anthony Clark said, "What's up, Anthony?" He said that he mailed his in. Okay, we're gonna pray that everything goes well because I'm against mail-in right now, knowing that they're making these fake drop boxes right now. So I'm like, just go to the poll and just make sure you're there.
Clerk's office to do it too, right?
Where?
You can go walk into your clerk's office to
right.
do it early.
Yeah. And then when you go into these offices, what I'm saying, even on election day, don't let people intimidate you. There's going to be certain places where they're going to try to intimidate you. They might try to ask you questions. You don't really have to answer anybody's questions. As long as you know what you're supposed to do, you vote, and that's it. Don't let nobody try to tell you, oh, you ain't supposed to be here, or you know what I'm saying? Because they're really trying to suppress the vote. Make sure when you check your voter registration, also on vote.org, make sure that you are registered to vote, because it could say that you're registered today and tomorrow you go check and your name is purged from the voting registration. It's happening to people. So they're actually going in the system and taking people's names out. So we just got to make sure that we are strategic on, every day before you, especially the day right before you go vote. Don't do it on the day, or you can do it on the day of also, but just keep checking to make sure up until you actually are at the polls, okay? Because this is a very, very serious thing. All right. Do you have any last words for the people?
Last words. I'm just going to be honest that politics is not my favorite subject, and it's not something that
Me neither.
I really even enjoy talking about. But I know that it's important. I know that we have to be fully engaged right now, and understanding what's going on in the world, who is doing what, who stands for what, and really know for ourselves and be confident in who we vote for. So those are my last words. I also want us as a community, especially Black people, to be on the same team and rally behind who is right for us. But it is what it is. Biden and Harris, they are getting my vote so far, but a lot of things are going on. So yeah, those are my closing statements.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it. You heard it from Stacy. And thank you so much, Stacy, for coming on this show tonight. It was a pleasure having you on. You really brought a lot to the table tonight. Thank you. I cannot do this show by myself. I really can't. This show would not be what it is without having people like you on, JD on, and any guest that comes on. Okay. So thank you. We were on for 2 hours. It wasn't even supposed to be that way, but we were flowing, so I didn't want to stop. But thank you. I really appreciate it. I know you have your family to tend to, and you just took so much time.
I feel like, mommy, what's going on?
But we really do appreciate you here. Stay on. Don't get off yet. I'm just gonna close out so we can just talk off air for a moment. All right. So I just want to thank everybody that was in the comments. Anthony Jones, Anthony Clark. Thank you so much, Crystal Lucas. That's your cousin, right?
Yep.
Thank you so much, Crystal, for your input. Thank you so much. Big part of the show. The people in the audience watching, you guys are just as much a part of this show as the people on the panel. So because it wouldn't be a show without you guys either. You challenge us, you give us more, fuel to add to the conversation. So again, thank you for those that are in the comments. Pastor Robert Ferrer, I saw you in there earlier. Thank you so much. And anybody that was watching that did not even leave a comment, but I saw the numbers going up and down. So, thank you for everybody that was watching. We really appreciate you. Next week, we'll be back here next week, Tuesday, for the Vote 2020. All right, guys. So we'll be back here next week, Tuesday, at 8 p.m. You can find this replay on youtube.com/Black News Undisputed. It'll be on our Facebook page also, facebook.com/Black News Undisputed. It's also on my personal page. And, you can just catch the replay, share it, do a watch party, share it with your family and friends. Let it be a conversational piece. All right, guys. I really appreciate everyone that was watching. And we will see you on the next episode of the Vote 2020.
All right.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.